Hi everyone, this is Greg from Greg's Whiskey Guide. You know me also as Grégoire from France. Um, Before I go into the present topic video, I'd like to thank you very much, everyone. Whether you are long time means 1 year and a half maybe now, but still it is long time viewer or just coming up. There's a lot of new subscribers, so I wanted to thank them very much and hope they will find different content, something they could find informations and opinions that are maybe different or complementary, of course, from other channels. Also bear in mind I do not do editing here. It's a choice, but also because I'm very weak at that. um, I might pause the video if I need something or if something wrong happens, but basically that's all I do. Might present you some material information and stuff in picture, but it won't be edited for now. I don't do it, so I hope it's not a big drawback for you to follow me. Other than that, so I'm continuing and stopping it for now before maybe get new bottlings. My BENRIACH series. For those who haven't seen the previous episodes, I will drop a link into the main video, big video, which presents you the distillery, the changing in packaging that had recently occurred, and the four bottles that you still see on my table, mind you, I have in my collection and that I did purchase and then I did review. Some of them have been reviewed on my website, please check it out. Others not, and some, like the 20 years old I will present you today, is from a different batch than the one I had in a masterclass. So as always, yeah, bear in mind or check out before buying the batches I'm talking about, if you don't want to have surprises, good or bad. We will never know, but often it's bad, I have to say. Well, it depends. Let's stay positive. So yeah, the bottle of today is the previous. Well, there's been a lot of BENRIACH did a lot of bottlings, and sorry it's a bit glowing. So yeah, the 20 years old. This one is a bottle. It has been bottled in 2014 on the 21 of October, so not far from now, 20 years ago, but it is another 20 years old. Of what I know, of what I've been told by the guys from the distillery, it's something they bottled in order, like other brands, like Glendronach did it a lot at the same company at that time. Billy Walker was taking care of it, and for some expressions they don't want to change the label, which means invest and change maybe the channel that's used to do the packaging, the labeling. So, and like Balvenie as well at some time. When you see then for this expression, especially 20 years old, I've been told it's a 23 plus years old. So it's interesting. What does he say? Not match things about chill filtering and color adding. It is not said, so we will assume it is colored and it is chill filtered. This is a 43% bottling, 70 CL, so Europe, of course. And the price I paid it is not the regular price, have to say. By 2015 15 or so. You still could find it in Belgium, for instance, for at some occasion, or Luxembourg, the famous Massen yearly supermarket offers and mini festival. A friend of mine had it for 74 euros, but the official retail price was rather 92 euros. I checked out today. You still can find an offer at 107, sorry, 107.5 euros on Whisky Base today through their website. Just check it out. It says blue label because there are different expressions. There's a gray label, the dark blue label. When we say blue label, that means rather the distillery picture reproduced here is well, kind of picture or drawing after the picture is in blue, in light blue, cerulean blue almost. So what about this bottle? The one I had in a masterclass several years ago was much more, in my opinion, interesting and much more coherent in the sherry displaying, if I may say. That leads us to the content. What I can be saying for sure about the content, and for sure I might not say that. Okay, let's say what I assume to be most probably the content is 50% first fill bourbon, 15% Pedro Ximenez Sherry, and 35% Hogshead, third and fourth fill. But then the problem is, I was told by some reps there were some Madeira cask involved in this expression. Others told me, oh no. So I'm a bit confused. I couldn't find a certified information about this. Apologies. So I will assume it is mostly bourbon and sherry and hogsheads, which means reconstituted casks with new oak staves or used sherry or bourbon staves that replaces the one that are broken or leaking. That's why we have this hogshead, usually 250, sometimes a bit less liters, I mean capacity. So these hogsheads are more and more used in the whiskey industry. You have to know that. Why? Because it's more practical, and when you have cooperages in your company, you can use these. But when you haven't, the trade between different distilleries and brokers and stuff often makes that you will come across as empty cask more often hogsheads, and it's cheaper than bourbon. I take it's cheaper than bourbon, and I'm sure it's cheaper than sherry. When I say sherry, I mean long time maturation, not seasoning. Long time maturation sherry is often considered as 10 times more expensive than bourbon cask, and I speak about empty casks, of course. So maybe 100 to 200 euros the empty bourbon cask, where for real Oloroso sherry matured for several years, you will probably still today pay around 1,000 or 1,500 or more for an empty cask. So I don't know the cost of the hogshead, but I know it's much cheaper than the sherry. And those used or damaged staves, they are replaced by others. So it might change the taste. Often it's a bit more spicy, a bit more dry profile that comes from them. But there are sensational whiskeys still bottled, matured and bottled in using hogshead. Okay, so let's leave the digression because I know it can be very long, and get into this. So I poured a glass some time ago. I have my old notes, and I have, when I mean old, is the one I have during the masterclass a few years ago. The masterclass is on my website, by the way. I might put a link below as well in the description. This is a bottle I opened in 2018. I will see how it goes and tell you. Now about the color, it's dark. It has some orangey glues. The legs, they're sticking a bit, but not so long that you could think. I don't know if you see them. It's quite oily. It has something thick. But let's get on now to the nose. Yeah, so immediately compared to the memories I have and the notes I have of the bottle that was poured to me a few years ago, probably 5 years now. Oof. Yeah, probably. Bear in mind this is 2014 bottlings, yes, but it's probably not the same batch as the other one. So in this one, right from the start, I have some more sour than sweet notes, and it's when I wonder about that Madeira influence, if it's true or not, and I'm a bit confused to find out really. There's something of it, but of the Madeira, but there's not the usual kind of buttery, waxy green element that goes with it, and the candied fruit. There's not this element that comes from great Madeira, let's say, finishes. And I'm gonna have I have ordered one interesting whiskey, I hope, with Madeira finish, and it's some kind of a special thing. Unfortunately, this year there will be no Whiskey Live Paris, there will be no Salon du Gars. These are the places where I usually go to try new stuff. There's only some very tiny shows, so that's why I will have much less opportunity to try, for instance, the Springbank 17 Madeira cask that intrigues me a lot. And other things, and also the new BENRIACH range. But okay, so this sourness is now mixed with some heady flowers. Oh my, this is weird. I have some kind of soapiness that I never had before now. Very weird. Also, that red currant note that I have on the palate usually when I try this come across very strong. Let me see what I wrote, because yeah, there's something that is confusing as well. Is the French term called rancio. Rancio is hard to explain. It's basically the action of age on a cask, on the distillate, the relationship between the distillate and the cask, that brings something that very oxidative. There's a lot of oxidation. Brings some sourness, brings also some tannins from the wood and from the wine, because it's sherry, partly sherried. And the mix of the two brings on some oaky notes, but also some forest, mossy notes, green notes, vegetal. And this is a sign of good age usually. But here it is present, but there's a lot of sourness that sometimes yeah, in the new Aaron sherry bodega sherry cask you have this note as well, but here is very special. And I still haven't decided honestly if the special means good or no, or bad. Okay. Okay, on the palate this gets stabilized more. Um, again, um, there's this slight sourness, but fortunately, the backbone here is the big background is the bourbon barrels that speak a lot, brings some reassuring vanilla, gentle oak tannins, dried fruits, and the characteristic of the age here is and the style of the distillery is it brings some tobacco notes, some leather tobacco notes, um, some over infused Earl Grey as well. Um, yes, there's some fruit cans in syrup, but it's less syrupy than usual. It's less bright, it's less shining. I'm not telling you this is a bad whiskey, mind you, but this is a more demanding one, a more difficult one than, say, every other on the table, in my opinion. Um, the interesting thing is that I have this 23 years old independent bottling from Gordon MacPhail, um, BENRIACH from refill sherry hogshead, and the profile and the color is quite different. I reviewed this in the main presentation of the BENRIACH topic, so I'm not going to go back to it as my video is again long. I wouldn't say I prefer the other one than this one. These are different whiskies. Okay, let's go back to the palette and maybe precise some other things. Yeah, red fruits and red apples especially. Um, let's see. Red fruits, red apples, yes. Mixed berries on the second ground. Then on the third ground on the palate, but on the first, on the nose, are some red currant. And this was disturbing me with the a bit cloying or sour note I had. So this is interesting. This is sometimes comes across differently according to different times of tasting and neck pour questions and stuff, but it's a nice one. I would say I'm happy to have it at 74 or so euros. I won't buy another one, even at that price, though. I would never buy this for 100 euros or more. That's all I will say. Or maybe yeah, I will correct my rating. I use this sheet. I will correct it though, because I tried it 2 times since last time. The balance is okay, not at the maximum rating. I will down a bit the complexity and the finesse. Generosity as well. Intensity. The play with water. Have I put some water? I don't remember now. Let me maybe. I hope I didn't add too much. But yeah, it's a bit improvised. The very heady flowers that I don't find on the palate. Maybe it's confusing. I don't know. On one hand, I love it, and on the other hand, I struggle with it. So I think I'll go back to the initial note, which is 86.5 out of 100. Yeah, last sip, and Slanjeva. Cheers, santé, everyone. Yeah, a good whiskey, not spectacular, with some demanding notes, or it needs time in the glass. It had more than 10 minutes, maybe 15, but I wonder if it's enough, and I wonder if it will change really something. The slight spicy finish also. Ginger, black pepper, but not very strong. Yeah, nice combo, but a bit weird, especially compared to the best ones from the distillery. And if this one is 86.5 out of 100, for those who haven't seen it, this was 94 now out of 100, if I'm not mistaken. So check out the video, and also check out please this, which is a more interesting value before it disappears from the market than that 20 years old. Thanks for watching. I've been a bit long because I digressed about the casks and other things, so I hope it's still okay, and see you next time. Bye bye.